What's up, physios? I have on the show today the amazing Mike Chua. What's up, Mike? How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Thank you for having me again, Jared. Appreciate
Awesome.
you, sir.
So let's get clear here, man. I mean, you're doing a lot of amazing stuff. You have the Alternative Healthcare Careers Group, which is awesome. You have Tennessee Therapy Outsource, which is your own company. You've got some folks that are working for you, and you're doing in-home health. You specialize in working with patients who have Alzheimer's and dementia, which is an amazing niche that I know very little about. So I'd love to hear. We actually have a patient now, and I thought about you the other day because we have a patient who's actually a neighbor who clearly has dementia and is coming in, and he's getting, the dementia is getting worse. He's coming in for orthopedic problems, but the behavior in the clinic is becoming more and more of a struggle. And I definitely, and my clinicians, we're not really trained. We feel ill-equipped. So in the meeting the other day, I said, you know what we need to do? We need to call Mike Chua and find out what we need to be doing a little bit differently with this guy to make sure that we can actually continue to give him care. And if we're not the right place, where do we get him? So good thing I have you on the podcast today.
Well, thank you. First of all, thank you very much for having me, and thank you and welcome to those people who are watching and listening. And I've been following you, Dr. Jared, for a while, and I really appreciate all this stuff. I mean, those neck stuff that you've been doing, I actually do to some of my patients. Every time I do it, I remember you too. Good. So there's really good results there. So I'm just reciprocating the love there, man. So
awesome.
Thank you.
Yep.
But yeah,
and you just had a birthday as well.
Yeah, I just had
that today or yesterday?
So
yesterday.
Happy
birthday.
So thank you. I'm 24 years old now.
Oh, stop. You're a baby.
All right. There you
That's
go.
Right. Well, I mean, you've done a lot for 24, let me tell you. That's amazing. So let's start somewhere, man. Let's start a conversation that's meaningful to those that are listening and watching, because, you know, a lot of what's going on, a lot of what I hear on Facebook these days, there's a lot of doom and gloom. There's a lot of people that are kind of like, you know, almost like regretting becoming therapists because of the state of the industry. People have debt hanging over their head, hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt, which is real stuff. I mean, that's no joke. And they're coming out and they're getting paid 70 grand a year on the high end their first year. And you're out there, you just kind of like, you represent positivity. I love the acronyms that you do. I got to find out, like, you know, I want to talk about that in a second, but you're out there, you're trying to be positive, but a lot of people are still struggling. I mean, you and I just had a conversation before we started the recording, and, you know, you and I both are encountering things in our practice that are being sort of like influenced by outside sources and changes in the environment. What's your take on what's going on, and how should we deal with it?
You know, I love that question. You know, right now we are coming into a new decade, 2020, and we are encountering a lot of challenges. But what's funny is that you go back 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, they've encountered challenges too. Mm-hmm. And what's funny is that people who are actually encountering those challenges and positive and uplifting people, they thrive. And people who are actually negative about the situation, guess what? They go down and down. So there's this really saying, you know, back in Asia, you know, the rich gets richer and then the poor gets poorer. And same thing with our mentality. You know, if we keep on focusing on, you know, that negative mentality, guess what? We're going to be continuing to go down. If we keep on focusing on being positive and uplifting, guess what? We're going to be better and stronger. And change is the only permanent thing in this world. You know, there's always change, you know, like right. What you mentioned earlier, you know, you got issues in your practice. I got issues in my practice. We just got fired with one of our biggest contract. But do we stop there? No, we don't stop there. That's where we get better. You know, so for those people who are watching right now, you know, new grads or whatever, yes, that is, you know, the starting salary right now. But what you can do is actually create some sort of a side hustle, you know, create your own niche like what Jared is doing. He has his own niche. I have my own niche, which is dementia. But do I see all dementia patients? No, I just saw a patient who had a knee replacement. I went to an orthopedic clinic this morning promoting my book. And I asked her, hey, here's my book. And then can I interview you? And she's like, I don't know anything about dementia. And I said, well, let me teach you about dementia. This is an orthopedic doctor. Right. And she said, well, yeah, let's go ahead and talk. I don't have to bring, you know, donuts. I don't have to bring, you know, I used to bring biscuits in the morning, bringing them biscuits and pizza in lunchtime. But they ate. Did they remember me? Yeah. But when I have my book, when I told them I'm a dementia expert, you have your own niche. they're going to remember you. And that's the one thing that we need to tell all these new grads. You need to find a specific niche, whatever, you need to find there and hone there, like what Jared is doing. He's like the awesome manual orthopedic, whatever neck there. I always see the neck thing there. And I enjoy
Everyone loves
watching
the neck. I
your
don't know
videos.
why. Like,
So,
people are a bunch of crack addicts. They love watching me crack.
so there
Those
you
videos
go.
do pretty well. But you touched on a lot of different stuff. First of all, you touched on the I Ching, which I am a huge fan. I was the only constant is change. And and I agree with that. I used to teach Tai Chi many moons ago, and so the Tao Te Ching and the I Ching were books that I would use when I would teach and reference. But you're right. I mean, everything is constantly changing. It's constantly in flux. It's constantly a work in progress. But I guess one of the questions is, it's easy for I think that it's easy for positive people to say stay positive. But when you're not a positive person and you hear positive people say stay positive, you just want to like smack them in the face and be like, but how do you do that? Like, what is the key to staying positive? Like, how do you, in light of what's going on in your life, how do you change the internal feeling of negativity to positivity and change your mindset and therefore change the way you feel about the world?
Oh gosh, that is such a great question, Jared. It sounds like I'm in a Miss Universe interview, whatever, that contest or something like that.
This is a video. I may have you walk back and forth and do.
I know, right? Turn around, I can answer world peace or something like that, man. Well, anyway, our goal here is not to ask you to be positive. For all those physios watching right now, we're not asking you to be really, really positive. What we're asking you to be is be realistic. Be realistic. The pessimist says the glass is half full. Right? The optimistic says the glass is, what you call it? I lost my English there.
That's okay. We got the idea.
Way past my
half
English
full,
time.
half empty.
7:00. So the pessimist says it's the glass is half empty. The optimist says the glass is half full. Mm-hmm. Well, you know what the realist say? The realist says, let's go ahead and drink it. And that's the goal there. You need to take action on whatever you have there. You need to take action. Just grab that cup of water, drink it. Drink it. It could be poison. It could be just water. All you need to do is take action, whether it's perfect or imperfect action. You got to take action, guys. So that's the key there, taking action.
I mean, the obvious thing is that fear stands in people's way. They're afraid of the negative outcome or whatever it is. So when you have a new grad who needs to take action on whatever that thing is, whether that's leaving a job that they don't like, whether that's asking for more money from their current employer, whether that's starting a side hustle and freeing up some hours to do that, whether that's opening a practice, how do they get over that fear? Like, let me rephrase that question rather than it being advice. How did you get over the fear?
Oh gosh, how did you get over the fear? Guess what? Let's just break down what fear is. What? Sure. What is fear?
Break it down, brother. Let's do it.
What is fear? What is fear, guys? F-E-A-R. Fear, false evidence appearing real. It is the false evidence that is appearing real, and fear and worrying is just like a rocking chair. Okay, it's just like a rocking chair. You feel like you're moving. You feel like you're moving, but actually you're not moving forward. Yes, you are rocking back and forth, back and forth. And that's what fear gives you. And it's moving, but you're not actually moving forward. And like what we said earlier, you guys need to keep on moving forward, whether it's perfect or not. You just keep moving forward. Life is just like riding a bicycle. In order for you to be able to balance that bicycle, you have to keep pedaling forward in order for you to be able to balance it. And yes, you may need to put some training wheels behind you. You need to put your helmet on just for safety. But as you keep pedaling that bicycle, as you keep moving it forward and forward, guess what? You're going to be able to balance it. And guess what? When you stop pedaling, that's when you start falling. That's when you start falling. That's when you start getting fearful of life. And as a physio, as a starting student, I'm pretty new. I'm just here in the States. I'm new here, and you know what happened to me when I stopped learning, when I start getting coaching, when I stopped, pushing myself, that's when I start getting fear.
Mm.
But now that I'm moving forward, trying to pedal that bicycle, I don't like riding bicycle, but when I start pedaling it, guess what? You're moving forward, and that's when you start balancing everything. So
Right. Always maintain forward motion is the what I've heard. I guess it's kind of like along what you're saying. I mean, you have to keep moving forward. You have to be willing to walk into the darkness, but it's hard. It's hard. I love that acronym, false evidence appearing real. I wrote that down. I hope you don't mind if I steal that one.
I got it from somebody.
I'm sure. Right. It's
I Googled that.
Right.
I Googled that. I know you're going to ask me that question. So
yeah, right. The acronyms. I love the acronyms. You come on every time, not every time, but a lot of your posts, and you break down a word like awesome, and every letter stands for something. Where'd you get the idea for that?
Actually, I have a hard, English is not my first language. Okay. So in order for me to learn English, we have to find ways how to memorize medical terms. So for example, I don't know if you remember it, cranial nerves. O to touch and feel.
The ending is different depending on whether it's the PG or the rated R version.
There you go. So I'm the rated R. So, that's how I learned English, and carpal tunnels, brachial plexus. And when I'm doing live videos, I don't know if you've seen my live videos last year, I'm like, oh gosh, I don't know what to say next. What am I going to say next? I'm like looking at my notes. And I said, well, how about if I make an acronym out of it? And I'm remembering it more when I'm doing acronym. So that's what I do, simple stuff. For example, what's my word for today? Awesome or whatever, or sometimes I'll make fun of people like you, Jared. For example, I'll make an acronym. Maybe I'll make an acronym for you tomorrow. The word That'd Jared, what does Jared mean? J,
tag me in that post.
Jump, A, just be awesome. R is just being responsible. E is just being, energetic like you, and just D and just having discipline in life. And
interesting.
That's it.
So it almost like it almost was born out of necessity for you. You were doing your lives. You needed a way to keep yourself on track. And so you started using the acronyms the same way that you studied for PT school to make sure that you're doing those, and it helps other people learn as well, which I think is incredibly clever. I had no idea that's why you were using them, but I think that is a really cool story. Now, you get on lives, you do a lot of lives. How much does going on and sharing your story and what's going on with you and inspiring others help you versus help other people? Because I love teaching and I get a ton out of it. It helps me probably more than it helps the people I teach, because when I teach, I learn a lot. How does that work for you? Do you have the same experience?
You know what? I love how you said that. And one time I asked a person who also does live videos, doing videos and stuff like that. And I asked him, why do you do this? And he said, this was amazing what he said. I'm doing this, Michael, not for my audience. And I said, for who? I'm doing it for myself. And I said, why? And during that time, I didn't understand it. And now that, last year, last December, when I lost my contract with this big home health company I contract with, I lost the drive in doing Facebook Live. I lost. For like a week or two, I didn't do Facebook Live. I'm just sad. And now that I came back and doing Facebook Live, and I said, gosh, this is what that guy was talking about. You're doing this not actually for your audience. You're doing it for yourself.
It's like catharsis.
It's just like, what do you call that term where not really narcissism?
No, catharsis. Catharsis. It's cathartic.
Catharsis?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like where you do something and your emotions come out and you feel better.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have a CEU class that I will teach this January, the 18 and 19. I have my calendar up there. And I said to myself, can I do this next week? And I just realized, yeah, I'm going to do this because I'm going to be able to inspire people and bring out the best in them. So like what you said, I enjoy it because I bring out the best in other people, and also a way for me to release some pressure,
Yeah.
So I always say this, because when you're actually teaching it, when you're saying and teaching it, you actually understand. Because when you hear it, you forget. When you see it, you remember. But when you're actually teaching it, like what you're doing, you're actually understanding it more. So
I couldn't agree more. Now, you talked about your book a little bit ago, And you told us that back in the day, you'd bring muffins or crumpets or whatever to the doctor's office to try to almost like buy your way in with reciprocity. And I teach a referral system about how to get doctors to refer to you, which involves absolutely nothing about bringing things to doctors. I don't believe in that anymore. It doesn't sound like you do either. And I use a slightly different method, but you actually bring your book when you go to see doctors. So I want to talk about the book, and I want to talk about what brought you to write a book, what your book is about, and like how you use it to position yourself as an expert in the different arenas and spaces that you go. So start anywhere with that, if you would.
That's a great question there. So first of all, why I wrote the book, because a lot of people are just asking me, hey, Michael, what is dementia? I said, well, duh. I mean, you can just Google it. But of course, they want to hear it from you, right? They want to hear I want to hear it from Dr. Mike Chua. I want to hear it from Dr. Jared. And I said, well, okay. Well, I heard this podcast one time that you can, write a book. I was like, me? Write a book? I mean, I don't even know how to speak English. So it's very simple. So this podcast that I was listening to, I don't know if he still has it. I forgot the podcast name, but he said, well, just write a book, record yourself while you're talking to a patient, and then, make it as a book. And that's what I did. I recorded myself, and I found somebody to translate it for me.
Wait, pause for a second. Take me through that process. So you literally had a patient in front of you. Now, was this a patient you saw on a regular basis? Did you bring a patient in just to be an audience to get the words on paper?
So, well, actually, it wasn't an actual patient. It was a lecture that I did. Okay. So there was an in-service that I did. So I said, well, let me record myself. So I recorded myself, and that's it. And then I had somebody, what do you call this? Transcribe it. Yeah. Transcribe it, and then we made it as a book. But first, it was a blog post, and then we collected all those blog posts. If you have a blog post, and then we collected all those blog posts and put it in a book. That's it.
Right.
And that's my book now, MisUnderstanding Dementia. And we have 5 published books. 3 of them is about dementia, and then the rest are just like more like inspirational stuff. But the cheapest one, the thinnest one, I don't have one right now. So it's the thinnest one. We sell it for $3, and that's the one that I give out to the doctors.
Okay.
When I go to them and market, hey doc, my name's Michael, et cetera, and this is my specialty. And if you have any patients who have dementia, then boom, boom, boom. And then
are you marketing to, what kind of physicians are you marketing to?
Orthopedic. Well, we're a very small town, so I go to family med, internal med, and orthopedic doctors. Okay. And nursing homes. I go to nursing homes, assisted livings, and I give them that book, and then after that, I also do a quick interview. I would interview them. Hey, doc, can I do just this around 2:00? I interviewed that administrator for that assisted living. I gave him my book. Hey, sir. Hey, his name is David. Hey, David, can I interview? Here's my book. If you need therapy, blah, 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 blah. And of course, can I also interview you in my podcast? And they'll be like, oh, what's that? Oh, yeah, I want to interview you on my podcast. And then, and then they're like, oh, yeah, why not? And then boom, you have that instant relationship. And that's what you want to be. That's what for all those physios students watching, if you want to create influence in your area, interview those doctors, interview them. It doesn't have to be fancy. It could be just a simple phone recording. It doesn't have to have a fancy camera like what I have, but start with a phone. The phones are just amazing. Just go there, interview them, ask them, what are your most common cases you see? What are the patients that you see, what medication you prescribe and stuff like that. And they'll be like, oh gosh, this person is really to give value to me, not take out, from me. So, yeah.
I think that's the key is providing value for the physician, and the more value you provide for them, the referrals come naturally. You do it in a very interesting way. I'll tell you, I have not, although I've asked a few, when I started the podcast, I started, asking around some of the docs that I know. I was like, hey, you want to be on the podcast? Some of them are like, yeah, sure. Some of them are like, no, I don't want to be on the podcast.
Yeah. But I don't even want to be in the camera. Still shot. So,
but I think that's fantastic. Now, you mentioned just there that, you niche down, right? And for you, it's amazing what niching can do, especially when you can become the representation in someone's mind as the person that solves a very specific problem. So
Mm.
that when Dr. X or Dr. Y thinks about this patient has dementia, who should I send them to? You become the only logical solution. And when you can become that solution, then it's very good for business, right? So
Mm-hmm.
when you decided to get into what you do now, did you niche on purpose, like with the intention of niching down for business, or did you niche because you love the population? Either way, right? We'll go there. And then once you niche down, how do you leverage that and throughout everything that you do, both your website, your business cards, everything, so that you become that person that people think about when they decide to refer to someone who does dementia and Alzheimer's?
I love how you said that. I mean, you got some awesome questions, Jared. I mean, this is one of the best interview I've had
Well,
lately.
thank you.
Well, anyway, first of all, you got to niche down in order for you to scale up. So we
Would you
cannot
stop
be
dropping the bombs, Mike? I'm gonna have to keep writing all this stuff down. I love
we
it.
cannot be a
Niche
generalist.
down to
You
scale
have
up.
you have to niche down to scale up. So if
Yep.
you're a therapist right now, there are so much niches out there. I just interviewed a guy. His name is Ron French, and he's a hand therapist. And guess what? He sees patients for elbow. He sees patients for shoulder, but his main thing is hand therapist. He sees patient for neck, and now his goal is for refer all the patients for the back and hip and knee to me. Imagine that. And that's just the simple thing. They're learning how to niche down. The second, first, this next question was like, did I really chose the niche? First,
Yeah.
I already had my certification called the Certified Dementia Practitioner, but I never really used it before, when I started, because I was like working at the nursing home, assisted living and home health. And I was like, oh, nah. And then I tried to go the orthopedic route. I tried to go the orthopedic route, and then I worked in an outpatient clinic, and I tried to be the orthopedic guy. I was like, oh gosh, I know everything. I'm going to be like Dr. Jared Cooper. I'm going to do this. And guess what? I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it.
Mhm.
And there's no shame in going into that niche. And then if you didn't click, you can always get out. There's nothing wrong with that.
Mm.
Just find it. There's the reason why we have an internship. When we're in school and trying to find that specific niche. If you didn't succeed in that niche, guess what? You can move on to the next one. It doesn't have to be perfect. There's this Japanese proverb says, "Fall 7 times, stand up 8."
Stand up 8. Yep.
If you fall and made a wrong niche on the first time, it's okay. Go, move on. Find another one. There's so much niches out there. Orthopedic, shoulder, hip, knees. Some people are doing pelvic floor. That's an awesome niche there.
Mhm.
What else? There's so much. CrossFit niche. Sports. Gosh, there's so much out there. Even the dementia realm alone. Under under the dementia realm, we've got specialists who are specializing in FTDs, frontotemporal dementia. They only see those FTDs. Alzheimer's, just Alzheimer's, seeing Alzheimer's patient. So just in that niche alone. So in my case,
Wow.
I'm the generalist Alzheimer's and dementia guy. So
Yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
I think I would be remiss, and my listeners would probably get pissed at me, if I didn't ask the man himself to define the difference between Alzheimer's and dementia, and just give us the 2-second Wikipedia, Mike Chuapedia definition of each and what they actually mean. Because,
Oh
like you
wow.
said, we could all look it up, but we'd love to hear it from you.
There you go. There you go. So actually, the dementia itself is the symptom. Okay. A lot of people are just like, oh, they're the same. No, the dementia itself is the symptom. And then underneath that are the different types of diseases, like the Alzheimer's disease, the Parkinson's type, the Crutchfield, the Huntington's type. So Alzheimer's, however, is the most common type, like, 60 to 80% of dementia is caused by Alzheimer's. So a lot of people or even doctors and physicians, they think they go hand in hand, but in fact, it's actually the dementia is actually the symptom, the umbrella term. So just like, let's just say, for example, you got fever. That's the dementia. You got fever, and there are a lot of causes of fever. You got pain, you got infection, you get UTI, pneumonia, and stuff like that. Which one is most common? Probably UTI. So, UTI and fever goes hand in hand, just like Alzheimer's and dementia. I hope I explained that right in 2 minutes.
You did. That was actually perfect. I think I understand it a ton more clearly now. So as an orthopedic therapist, right, and I do general ortho, if I were to say that I have a niche, it's that I niche down to working with people that want to restore their body's system to optimal function. And we do that by balancing the system to treat the symptom. Whether you have a shoulder problem, knee problem, back problem, I don't care. I'm going to balance the system. When I balance the system, I'm going to improve your symptom. That's what I do. That's what my practice is based around.
Oh, wow.
Every now and then, we get people that walk in the door. I got a guy now with Parkinson's. I got 2 patients with Parkinson's. We got so we're gonna get like even in the niche outpatient orthopedic setting, we're still gonna get the neurological patient. We're still gonna get the patient who's got some mild TBI. I have a guy now who's got a mild stroke. They show up. They show up anyway, and I think it's important for me and my therapist to continue to treat these different populations because it keeps us fresh and it makes sure that we do not get too tight on what we do so that we can help people that need us. And a lot of the people that come, by the way, who have these other conditions, they don't want to go anywhere else. They know our reputation. They know me. Like the guy that came back who recently had a stroke, I treated him for something else years ago. I ain't going anywhere. They tried to send him to Kessler. He's like, no. I'm going to see Dr. Cooper. I don't want to go anywhere else. So he came in. He trusts me, and I feel confident enough. He's not a high-level stroke. He's very high level. He doesn't have a bad stroke. So I felt totally comfortable working with him. But all of us orthopedists, we're going to get these patients that come in who have these secondary overlapping diagnoses. So for the orthopedic practitioner working with a patient who's showing signs of dementia, what do they have to look out for? I guess this is more of a technical question. What do they have to look out for? And then what do they need to do? Just maybe 2 or 3 things to help work with that patient in an orthopedic way to get them to their functional goals.
Oh gosh, this is like what I said. It's just like a Miss Universe question and answer, man. It's just next level question.
We'll call it
there.
Oprah. It's like Oprah.
Oprah. Or Steve Harvey show or something like that. Well, anyway, the first thing that you need to address there, that's a great question, kidding aside. First question is, what are the goals? That's the thing that we need to ask.
Before we go into that, let's go back to what are some of the key things we need to be looking out for as far as identifying somebody for whom may have this as an overlapping diagnosis?
Oh, okay. So first you need to identify, is it really a dementia or a pseudo dementia? Because there are also types of pseudo dementia or the not real dementia. So what are that causes pseudo dementia? Drug interaction. You got to rule that out first. Second, acute symptoms. Acute problems like UTI, pneumonia, dehydration. What are the next pseudo dementia? Thyroid issues. Does the patient have thyroid issues? What else? Recent surgery. You notice that knee surgery, hip surgery, that can also make mimic dementia or pseudo dementia. So you got to rule that out first. So once that is ruled out, then you can identify, is it a real true dementia? What is the true dementia? Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, you already mentioned it, Crutchfield, Huntington's. Now, if that's the real dementia, you need to identify what stage. So we have, it's too technical. I don't really want to talk about it. It's like 7 stages, but this is how I explain it to the caregivers. I would tell them this is what the patient is going through. First 2 stages, what you call the denial stage. If the patient is undergoing this denial stage, they attempt to do what they used to do before and attempt to do what they can do before, just like driving, cooking, cleaning. They may be able to do it, but if you see they're unsafe, that's the first 2 stages, denial stage. What's the next stage? The next stage is what you call the anger stage, okay? The anger or humor stage. Why anger? Because they cannot do what they used to do before. Why anger? Because they cannot express themselves anymore. So that's what's happening. Me being, English is not my first language. When I get sick, I don't want to speak to my kids. I don't even want to go Facebook Live. When I'm depressed, last month I got fired, I don't want to talk. I didn't want to talk English. I just want to talk with my native language. Talk to me in English. I'm going to get mad. What more for this real dementia, not the pseudo dementia,
Mm.
but the real dementia. So, or humor, because they just are humorous, happy-go-lucky person. All right. So, what's the next stage? Third and fourth stage, what you call the bargaining stage. They're going to bargain with you, bargain with priest or God, or bargain with their doctor, their physician, or any higher being, or their spouse. And the next stage, what you call the depression stage. They're going to be depressed. They don't want to do anything. They just want to stay in bed, and they don't want to do any therapy with you. Oh, I want to be just discharged from therapy for now.
Mm.
And then the last stage will be the acceptance stage, or the end stage, wherein they will move on forward and just really participate with you as a therapist or as a patient. Why am I telling you this? Because first, you asked me that question. Second, because they could jump back and forth on those different stages. Why? Those stages, they will jump back and forth. Why? Because there could be an underlying reason again. It could be exacerbation of their medical condition. If they have MS, it could be a stroke, mini stroke. It could be UTI, it could be pneumonia. We don't know. And us as therapists or physical therapists, we need to be on top of it, because we're a doctoring profession. We need to learn, this patient is getting worse. It's not just an orthopedic knee problem anymore. It's not just back issue. There's something probably going on. We need to refer them back to their physician, blood work, whatever, UTI, urinalysis or whatever. And that's where we come in. Hey, this is our specialty, and we need to dig in deeper with this patient. So did I talk too much? I'm sorry, Jared.
No, man, that was really good. You're starting to make me think that I myself need to be looking deeper into that realm, because there's some stuff that you're mentioning that I've never heard before. Didn't get it in my doctoral program. Haven't really gone through it in postdoc, and so I got to follow up with you. And and you're out there teaching this stuff on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
This is probably a good time for you to talk just a little bit about, if people want to learn more about dementia, the stages, how you treat it, how do you identify it, how do they get a hold of the certified dementia practitioner course that you do?
There you go. Well, first of all, every month we teach a CEU course called the Alzheimer's Disease and Dementia Care Seminar. It is the required course to be a certified dementia practitioner. So basically, I teach the course, and then after you passing the course and the test that I do, it's a 2-day course, Saturday, Sunday, over the weekend. It's online. It's purely online. I used to teach it, I used to go different states, but now it's just online. It's much better.
Okay.
I can wear this, I can wear shorts here at home.
Do you do it live, or is it pre-recorded?
It's live webinar. It's required to be live.
To get the live CEUs.
To be a live CEU. And then once they've done that 2-day seminar, they can submit their certificate of completion to the National Council of Certified Dementia Practitioner. And once, they've approved it, then you get that letters behind your name through the council. So
that's awesome. How does somebody find out more about the course?
Oh, they can just reach out to me. I'll check out my website, drmikechua.com.
Okay.
And then the informations are there, drmikechua.com, and just check them out. They can download a free copy of my book. It's free. We're not going to spam you. I only, you get that free book, and the book is actually just $3.99. It's very, it's in Amazon, and then I don't even earn anything from it. And like what I said, if you want to learn how to be a certified dementia practitioner, come and join that course. We have one this coming next week, actually, January 18th and the 19th. And we do it every month anyway. So
tell them let's talk about the Facebook group as well. And because that is the Alternative Healthcare Careers group. And who's in that group? Who's that for?
Like what you said, we have this group called Alternative Careers Group for Rehab Professional.
Okay.
And basically we're helping out the therapists, PTs, OTs, and the rest of the therapy industry find their alternative career. One of the alternative career that we teach is the certified dementia practitioner, how to be, influential in the dementia realm. And basically, there are a lot of coaches in there, therapists that, if you want to be a utilization reviewer, we interview different people, how to do that and stuff like that. So you can join that group. It's free. We do Facebook Lives. I think every day we have coaches who teach us how you can find your alternative career. So
That's awesome, man. I feel like
You can be one of the coaches there, Jared.
I'd love to be, man. Honestly, I could talk to you for another couple hours, but I think this is a good place to wrap up. So let me get some final thoughts from you on what your advice would be for somebody coming out, third year DPT student who's now just coming out and is looking to start their career within the sort of, I don't want to use the term, but like the hostile environment that we have now in physical therapy around us. What advice do you have for them?
One advice for all these students, whether you're a student, whether you're a 20-year, 30-year, 20-day practitioner, the key here is doing it fast. FAST. First is you got to find friends that will push you to your next level. Right now, you're in the right group, right podcast. This is the right friends because you are the average of the 5 people you hang out with, guys. Right now, I'm hanging out with Jared. I'm his average. If he's a multi-million guy, I'm going to be a multi-million-dollar guy too someday. So you got to find friends that will push you to your next level. What's the next letter? Letter A. You got to learn how to take action. All these videos that Jared is doing, all the videos that I do, all the CEU course that I do, it's not going to do me good. It's not going to do you good as a student or a therapist if you don't take action. Whether it's a good action or bad action, it's still action. What's the next letter? Letter S. You got to learn how to shoot for the moon because when you miss it, you're going to be eventually landing with the stars. I shoot for the moon. Now I'm landing with Jared Cooper. He's a star here, right? He's the star. And last but not the least, letter T. You got to learn how to teach it. Why? Because when you hear it, you forget. When you see it, you remember. But when you're actually teaching it, and that's what Jared is doing here, he's teaching us how to be an awesome therapist. He's teaching us how to be a good manual therapist, and he's understanding it more. And that's my recommendation. That's my special tip for you guys today. So be fast. FAST.
I love it, Mike. Master Coach Mike Chua, thank you so much for being on the Physio Mission podcast. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much, Jared. Appreciate you. God bless you guys.